Good morning.
Good morning.
My usual suspects. I love it. I think I would be really sad if I ever came on this mastermind and I did not see Janine, Adrienne, Sue. I would be very sad because you guys are my biggest fans.
Why are you sad? Sorry, I just joined.
Oh, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Things have picked up finally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does everybody agree?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Yeah, the market is definitely picking up. I think at this point, people do realize like interest rate is not going anywhere. People that were holding on to those like interest rates, they realize the rates are not going down and they have no choice. Like I see a lot on Facebook. I never comment or anything, but I just read everything. People need to move, not by choice, but they have to, right? Relocation. So even if somebody has like a 3% interest rate, well, now I realize like they have no choice but to sell their property. So I think it's starting to come back to normal. Uh,
Well, we
and
still don't have enough properties to sell.
I
Exactly. That's what I want to say. Yeah, we need to have more property to.
Yeah, so I think eventually like this summer might be better. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be amazing and we're gonna have like 20 transactions, but you never know. Every day is changing, so
Yeah, you're
we'll
right.
just wait another minute or two. I do want to let you guys know for next week, our mastermind is going to. So for next week, like I was telling you guys, our at 9:30, where Glenn Baker's session is going to be at 9:30. And then at 10 a.m., I have Landquest Title who will be on this call just to show you guys, not to sell you anything, just to show you all the benefits. So as far as like marketing, like you guys are looking to do brochures, postcards, you have smart leads. So they're just gonna come, and they also have a Palm Agent app, which I love, and I wish you all could, all of you guys download it, because what happens is like when you're going to show a property, or even when you're going to a listing appointment, and your age or your client says, okay, well, how much is this going to cost me approximately? You can go and enter the numbers and kind of tell them like where the price point will be at. It's a really good app. I don't even do a good job explaining it, but tomorrow, next Tuesday, we have Landquest Title who will be here at 10 o'clock. So just keep that in mind. Glenn Baker, 9:30, 10 o'clock will be with Landquest. So for yes, last week, oh my God, I feel like it was yesterday. Last week, I know we had Fran who discussed with all the NAR, the recap of her meeting, and then I also showed or told you guys how to cancel a buyer agency agreement. And today, what I kind of wrote some notes for me, so if you see me, I'm just gonna read through. I put some time into it. Today is I'm going to how to set clear expectations upfront during the buyer consultation, and how to identify red flags before wasting time and energy. I'm going to say this because just because you have a buyer agency agreement does not mean that you have a serious buyer, and you have to make sure when to stop, when enough is enough. That's why you as an agent can also cancel a buyer agency agreement, because you might sign with someone for 3 months, 6 months, and realize they're wasting your time and their expectations are way above their means. And you have a life too, and the energy you spend with that individual, you're missing out on other clients. So uh, today I'm going to just do the power buyer consultation. That is very, very, very important. So why does it matter? So most buyer problems, ghosting, right? We can all agree, like you show one property or you set an appointment and you never hear from them. Loyalty issues. We've seen that happen. They sign an agreement with you, you've shown them properties, and all of a sudden, they go and work with a listing agent, or they find a cousin's realtor who is the number one agent that gets all the offers accepted, or unrealistic demands. So that's literally from the stem from a weak foundation. So you have to have a buyer consultation. So people don't commit to what they don't understand. Isn't that true, right? They're not going to commit if they don't understand what it means. What to cover in your consultation. You guys should take notes because there's a quiz in the end. Just kidding. I'm kidding with you guys. All right, so your value and the process. That is so important from the beginning, okay? Walk them through how you work, okay? You have to let them know. If you don't go to open houses with them, you send them by on their own, make sure you let them know that ahead of time. Be like, this is how I do it. Show them a simple buyer roadmap from pre-approval to closing. So you should have a list of what do they need to do from step one to closing. It's so important. So example, this is what I would tell my buyer. You'll never wonder what's next because I'll walk you through every step of the way. You'll never be confused as to what's coming next, what to expect, what you need to do. I even go as far as like, hey, once our offer is accepted, I send it to an attorney. Just so you know, that doesn't guarantee that you have the property. Anything could happen, especially if we have an offer accepted on Friday or Saturday, because guess what? Somebody else can submit an offer. And then on Monday, we'll get a notification that the seller either decided to cancel your offer or they give you an opportunity to up your offer. Depending the relationship that I have with an agent, thank God in this industry, I know a lot of realtors. I'm sure they'll always give me the opportunity to come to you and ask you. So don't think that once your offer is accepted, done deal. Then you go through the attorney review process. If your attorney writes something so crazy that we did not negotiate with the seller can be mad or be upset about and cancel, or vice versa. They might just change their mind. So I walk them through that. So the buyer, there's no surprises. When I represent a seller, I tell my seller, when it comes to negotiations, don't take it personal. They always go up because they know they can never go up once they go, like if they start lower. So my clients now, right now, have a seller. They were not upset when the buyer wanted $25,000 in concession for home inspection. Why? Because I told them that that's going to happen. So they were not surprised. They were not mad. They didn't say, screw them, let's cancel this deal. They expect. So same thing with the buyer. Let them know what to expect. When it comes to inspections, I tell them, look, you have to do an inspection most of the time to get an offer accepted. This is what they're doing. This is what most buyers are offering. Just major structural. Nobody wants to change an outlet because it's from 1980s. So you need to make sure you're realistic as to what's important to you. That's a deal breaker that you do not want to fix. So that way they know when they get a home inspection, I tell them the inspector's job is he needs his license protected. So he's going to list everything he sees in the house, right? Because he never wants you to go back saying, how come you didn't tell me this outlet was loose, right? So the inspector's always going to go extra on what's wrong with the house. So you want to make sure your buyer consultation covers this. Create a booklet that you can print out and hand it to your buyer. Because I bet you not everyone is doing this. And then you're going to have the expectation conversation, which is really hard for us to do, but you have to be okay with who you are, what your value is. So this is something I would say. I work with a limited number of buyers at a time, so I can give each one my full attention. I ask for commitment and communication in return. That's very, very important, right? Because if you're committing to a buyer, you're not taking other buyers, right? Because your schedule is full. So it's not fair for you to give 100% to someone they can't even communicate back with you. Loyalty and representation. Don't wait to introduce the buyer agency agreement. Mention it before showing properties. You have to make that part of your consultation. Ask them, have you signed anything with another agent? Has anyone else been showing you homes? They might have signed a buyer agency agreement that was 1 day showing, 3 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. They could have picked a county. Let's say they were looking in Ocean County and now they're looking in Bergen County. That's okay if they had an Ocean County. You can still have them sign an agreement that says for Bergen County, Hudson, Morris, Union. But ask them those questions. Then use a digital intake form. So like this is optional, but help you pre-qualify and customize the experience. So you can say, hey, I partner with such and such lender. If you have not been pre-qualified. Here's their contact information. Reach out to them. That is the first step. I never take buyers out at this point where I am. Obviously, I work full-time as a manager, so my priority is not selling homes. But if I do take like a family member or a friend or a referral that was sent to me, they know that I work full-time. So for me to take you out to look at homes, you need to show me that you can actually buy a home, whatever your budget is. I won't take them out. Example, you can use a Google form asking pre-approval status, timeframes, type of home, and deal breakers. So you guys can create a Google sheet for your buyer saying, hey, I'm going to send you a Google sheet just so that I have an idea where you're at with your buying stage. And then you can say what kind of property they're looking for. Can you imagine how organized you will be when they enter that Google sheet and then they put their name, which location they're looking, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what is your deal breaker? Is pool important? Do you want septic tank, public, private, right? Creating a Google sheet to send to them. That way you're organized. So when you're looking for properties for them on the MLS and you're setting them up, you don't have to go back and forth and asking the questions. You have everything in the Google sheet. Adrian, did you have a question?
Do you have a sample Google sheet that you can share with us?
I do not. I can definitely, because I'm still working on one for me. So I will definitely share it with you guys once I have it. And I'm more than happy for you guys to use it. So if you all agree that you would like me to prepare one and share with you all, I will do that. Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. Yep. But don't you think that's a great idea?
Yeah.
Right? You have something
Totally.
that it's going to keep you organized.
It's going to keep them organized too.
Them too. Right.
Because some of
But
them
it-
are,
And it shows you're professional also.
Mhm.
Like you're not here to play games with them, you're here to get them in a house.
Yep.
right. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, so another thing is we can prepare like so let's say you have a buyer consultation, you're meeting with them, you can do a QR code, a QR scan code for them so that you can say, hey, look, scan this when you're home, fill out this form so that way I have everything we just went over, so that way I can be organized and help you find your property. And then the Google sheet will come up, they fill it out, and then you get a copy of it, and that way you know exactly what they're looking for. And if they ever come back saying, why are you sending me these properties? You can reference back saying, well, this is what you wanted, and I've been showing you exactly what you asked. So this is another script that I have come up with. Before we look at any homes, let's sit down and make sure we're aligned. I want to understand your goals, your non-negotiables. That's very important, right? Because you're making it all about them, not you. And how you would like to communicate. That way, you're not just getting homes sent to you, you're getting a guide who knows how to help you win. What do you guys think of that? You want me to read it again or you guys got it?
Read it again.
Before we look at any homes, let's sit down and make sure we are aligned. I want to understand your goals, your non-negotiables, and how you like to communicate. That way, you're not just getting homes sent to you, you're getting a guide who knows how to help you win.
Awesome.
Okay. Now we're going to get into the red flags before they cost you money, okay? So even with a great consultation, some buyers just aren't ready or aren't serious. Your job is to spot the signs early and pivot when needed. I'll give you guys a great example. When I first became a realtor, I was investing on Zillow leads right on my own. Because I feel like every realtor, that's what they think they have to do is pay for Zillow leads. So I ended up getting a Zillow lead at like 10:30 p.m. Now I wouldn't respond to somebody at 10:30, but at that time I was new, so I did. Well, the person was like, "Oh yeah, I'm interested in looking homes." I'm like, well, even then, she tells me to this day, I had her sign an agency agreement. Remember, we used to have those agency agreements because I thought that was the right way to do it. So I had them sign a buyer agency agreement with me. I was like, I'm going to commit to you. You need to commit back to me. And she's like, okay. So she signed it. I sold them 2 properties, but to this day she tells me, Adona, we were drunk with my husband that night and we just said, let's just go on Zillow and see what's out there. And she's like, we had no plans on buying a property, But the way I guided them and I showed them every step of the way, I helped them in the long run. Because now they're not only do they own their property, they're also an investor because now they have a second home that's paying for their first mortgage. But that's how it started. Like, you know, people will waste your time. They'll sign anything just to show for you to show them a property. So you have to make sure you see the red flags. Clearly, I ignored all the red flags, like somebody looking at houses at 11 p.m. I was like, yeah, you know, they're working late. Like, what can I say, right? So here are some common red flags, and I'm sure you guys are all going to shake your head agreeing with me. I'm just browsing, or I won't get pre-approved till I find the property. The buyers have worked with a few agents already. So when you ask them, like, have you looked at home? Yeah, I worked with a few agents, none of them worked. That's a red flag, believe it or not. That doesn't mean that, oh wow, like they picked me, I feel so lucky. They just mean the other realtors noticed that they're not serious and they were dropped. Of course, the buyer is not going to tell you that. Refuse or delay signing a buyer agency agreement. We're all dealing with that one way or another. Maybe not every single one of you, but most of us are dealing with that where buyers are delaying on signing the agency agreement because they don't feel comfortable. Ghost you after showing. I get calls from you guys all the time saying, Adona, they signed an agreement. I showed them the house. They loved it. I reached out to them. They have not responded. Cancel frequently or last minute, right? They tell you while you're on your way to the showing saying, oh, I'm sorry, something came up, I can't come. That's a red flag. Believe me, when somebody wants a home, we all know when somebody wants a home, they'll call out of work to make sure they see that property. Unrealistic expectations. Want a $1 million property on a 600,000 budget because they want to see that maybe it's been on the market for a while and they're like, maybe they'll go down 400K. We have some of those buyers. No, they think like, oh, we'll just go 200,000 less than asking and just try. Why doesn't hurt to try? And how do you respond to those situations? This is a gentle confrontation script, right? Like it's nothing putting them down or making them feel bad. This is what I have. I want to make sure I'm the right fit for you. I've noticed a few things that suggest we may not be aligned. Is this still the right time for you to be looking? Okay. Now, this is another script you can use. It sounds like you're not quite ready to commit. Would it make sense to pause for now and reconnect when you are? So those that are not wanting to sign a buyer agency agreement, you can say something like that. So here's a real world example that I just somebody had shared with me. Like another broker. One of our agents worked with a buyer for 3 weeks. No agreement signed. After 5 showings, which you guys know it's illegal, you cannot show properties without a buyer agency agreement. Okay. I don't know why this broker allowed this to happen. After 5 showings, the buyer went under contract with another agent. Why? Because they never had the loyalty conversation or a consultation. It was all showings and no strategy. So this agent was so desperate to get the client, they were just showing properties hoping that this client is going to commit. I have to say, one agent in our company, this was in the beginning stages, like back in August, September, when this first happened. Her best friend was looking for properties, and I have shared it with you guys. Her own best friend. So she's like, of course, my best friend. Like, I'm going to show them the property. They're going to work with me. You know, like they grew up together. Well, guess what? The client went, after the agent showed them the house, they went to the listing agent and worked out a deal and got their house. So now the agent comes to me saying, Idona, I showed the house. I said, you don't have a cause at all. First of all, I would be embarrassed to file an arbitration with the board because they're going to tell me, why is your agent showing houses without an agency? So not only are you not going to get a commission, you're going to get a violation for showing properties with no agency agreement. Okay. So guys, even if it's the reason I'm sharing this with you is we may think like our family and friends are the most loyal people. Those are the people that will go against us, right? Because they feel like, oh, they'll still be there because they want what's best for me because I'm their friend or family member. I'm gonna tell you, like my mom's brother, to this day, I have grudges against him because when I first became a realtor, I was hustling hard. You know, we've all been there, right? My uncle, right? What could possibly go wrong? And I share this with you guys comfortably because I'm okay with sharing it. But my own uncle, like I showed him comps because he had a 2-family house. He wanted the first unit to rent, right? So I showed him comps of what it will rent for, everything. I showed him how to stage it, etc. Tell me how he gives it to another realtor, not his niece, his another realtor. He goes, oh, I've been working with them for so long. I looked up the agent. Like he didn't think I could look up anyone to see how long they've been on the, it looked like a new agent. Like he didn't even have any production. So I share this with you because you guys might think, oh, no, family won't do me wrong. Like they will work with me. They'll be loyal. No, make sure you get those agency agreements signed. Even if it's family, friends. I work for an attorney. The most lawsuits I've ever had was between families and friends. No, not when it's like 2 separate business partners. It's usually family and friends. So make sure you get that signed. All right, so now I'm gonna ask you guys some questions to think about. Ready? Think of one current buyer who's giving off red flags. Do you guys currently are working with the buyer right now based on this session we had that you could think of that's giving you red flags? And ask yourselves, have I set clear expectations or am I reacting to bad behavior I allowed? All right, you guys don't have to answer me, but that's something for you guys to think about with who you're working with right now. So here's quick action steps. Review your buyer consultation checklist. You guys should all have one at this point. Build or refresh your digital intake form. So that's the Google sheet that I will prepare and share with you guys next week. Have your loyalty conversation before the showings. Don't be afraid to walk away from buyers who don't commit. That's our biggest fear, right? But you should not feel guilty or obligated to be working with someone who doesn't want to commit to you, who's not loyal to you, and they're like, you're showing them properties and then they're seeing properties with someone else. And you should not be okay with that. If you're being committed to someone, they should be committed back to you. It's like a relationship, right? The best buyers are the ones who trust your process. And if you don't have a process, they'll create their own and shop around. Okay. When you build that trust with your clients, believe me, they'll come back to you. I have all my past clients are like past clients or referrals from my past clients. I don't really work with new people that I don't know. It's just family and friends. And that's because I build my trust with them. I showed them the path to owning real estate. I showed them how to make money, how to use best of their money. I connected them with lenders, companies, attorneys, home inspectors. Then now they just come back to me. They're like, you want to buy a house? Like I have a client who still has I used to work for the blue company. He still has my business card from the blue company. And thank God my cell phone's still the same. So when he meets coworkers, he's like, this is the realtor you need to call. And it's been like 4 years later. So any questions? Are you all going to go back and see who you're working with and set clear expectations? It's harder to say, oh, let's have a buyer consultation after you show them like 20 homes. But if you do it from the beginning, like I know it's hard, like I don't know, how do I get them to sit down when they just want to see a house like in 3 hours? If you tell them like, hey, how long, just ask them questions up front. Be like, how long have you been looking? That's amazing. Make it all about them. Oh, you've been looking at homes? Have they ever sat down with you and guide you what you need in order to buy a property so you're set for that? No. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, this is how I do it. Let's meet up at a coffee shop, meet at any of our locations, like nearby, local library. If you're not near an office, you guys can go to a local library. It's a public place that you can meet with them. But you need to have the buyer consultation ready. You can use one that you can use it for all, right? Like, hey, this is what I give to every single one of my buyers. Believe me, you're going to set the expectations that maybe other realtors are not. Okay. That's all I had for today. If you guys don't have questions, just remember next week, 10 o'clock instead of 9:30. 9:30 will be Glenn Baker just for next Tuesday. And then I will share the Google Sheet with all of you next week before our session. Mary, you're smiling. I hope you enjoyed it.
I think the Google Sheet is a great idea. I have like a draft in my email that I have a set of questions that I just copy and paste to everyone that came to like the open houses. But I think having the Google Sheet will be really, really streamlined. So that's awesome.
Yeah. It's definitely going to help us with setting the tone, like your expectations, the buyer's expectation, and getting pre-approved.